Good evening. Good evening, all of you. Okay. Right. I don't know whether the others will join or not since we are meeting after a long time, right? About 2 weeks later. Okay. Can you all turn on the videos? So I shared the schedule. So today we are planning to finish the plant reproduction part, right? We will discuss the plant reproduction part today, right? At the beginning, I gave you certain information related to this plant reproduction lesson, but today we will discuss these in detail, right? Hari, we are here. Hello, Ayan. After a long time. Are you doing Edexcel syllabus or the Cambridge syllabus at school? The books your mother shared, these are actually Cambridge. We are doing this book, Ayan, this one. Is it the book that you are doing or something else? Different, no? Yeah. Hari. Yes, Situli. I the Yanul's sister. Can't remember the name even. Who is HP? Please rename yourself and turn on the video. Yes. Plants and their reproduction, right? So can you remember we mentioned certain things related to classification of organisms. We mentioned about the 5 kingdom classification, right? Yes, Situli and Putek, how the HP? Can you please rename yourself and turn on the video? I don't know who is HP. Okay. Yes, Tulara. Okay. So what do you mean by this classification of organisms, right? And what is the importance of a classification system? Yes, can you give me the idea about classification of organisms? Yes, yes. Because now we classify, these are birds, these are mammals, these are reptiles. Likewise, we have grouped them. So that is what we call as classification. How have we done that? Yes, what is the criterion based on the classification? Yes, Ayan. Yes, by considering the common characteristics, right? Yes, the shared characteristics. Based on the shared characteristics, we have grouped them into different groups. So there we are using different criteria, right? So we mentioned about the 5 kingdom classification presented by Robert Whittaker. There are the organisms which do not have an organized nucleus, they were classified under one group known as kingdom Monera, right? Nowadays we talk about a 3 domain classification as well, but in your book they have mentioned about the 5 kingdom classification, right? Still HP has not renamed. Kaudapute, I don't know, because there are few other absentees. I don't know who is HP. Yes, HP, can you hear me? Kaudupute, who are you? What's your name? Oh, please repeat the name once again. Ah, Lavanya. Okay, okay. Lavanya. Lavanya, can you turn on the video? Today it's your first day, right? Ah, okay, right. Um, shall we define the term classification? Yes, we'll say I have kept one empty page at the end, so we have to write certain things there, right? So classification means you can say grouping organisms, grouping organisms. If you don't have the tute, you can put the question number and write on a separate sheet of paper, right? Grouping organisms based on based on shared characteristics. Shared characteristics. Grouping organisms based on shared characteristics. Grouping organisms based on shared characteristics. Then when we consider our environment, we know that there are different organizational levels. So if we start with an individual, now think of us, we as human beings, we belong to a particular species, Homo sapiens sapiens, right? So likewise, all the other organisms uh, belong to different species, right? A collection of individuals of a particular species is known as a population, right? Human population, we'll say elephant population, right? So there are different populations. Then these populations interact. Population consists of living organisms, right? They interact with the non-living environment, the abiotic environment, right? They have certain relationships. For example, we take oxygen for our respiration and we give out carbon dioxide. The plants obtain light energy, sunlight, and water uh, from the environment, and also carbon dioxide to synthesize the food. Once they synthesize food, one day all these plants and animals will die, and these dead materials are once again added to the soil and atmosphere. So we are interacting with the abiotic environment. Organisms are interacting with the abiotic or the non-living environment. Right? So the collection of these non-living and living component we call as an ecosystem. Now, ocean is an ecosystem. A desert is an ecosystem. A forest is a separate ecosystem, right? So, what do you mean by this biodiversity then? Bio means living, diversity means the differences, right? So, what do you mean by biodiversity? Yes, Shiza. Shiza, have you joined from two devices? No, that should be Shamla then. Okay. Shamla is in the waiting room. Yes, what do you mean by biodiversity? Okay. Habitats containing different species. Yes, a collection of habitats containing different species can be defined as biodiversity. So or else we can say uh, differences among the living organisms, right? Variety of species in an ecosystem. Okay, so we'll say variety of species. variety. Variety of species in an ecosystem. Right? Then we have used the term species. So what do you mean by a species? Now think of we'll say you all know about mango plants, right? So mango plants belong to a particular species, right? So these mango plant the interbreeding among the mango plants will produce another mango plant, right? So these the individuals belonging to a particular species are capable of producing a new generation as a result of interbreeding, right? Now, uh, so if I draw it and show you like this, now we will talk about sexual reproduction of plants. So here these are two mango plants, right? They belong to the same species. Then as a result of interbreeding, they will produce another mango plant which is fertile. Fertile means this mango plant can also produce fruits and give rise to another generation. Give rise means R-I-S-E, rise, right? Give rise to another generation. It can also produce another generation. That means this individual is fertile. Fertile, right? So if we consider an animal species, a dog, male and female, they interbreed and produce a puppy, right? So that puppy will also become mature one day and it will also produce a new generation. So that puppy is also fertile. Therefore, these are known as the individuals who belong to the same species. Right? They are the resulting organism. We call these as offsprings, right? Offsprings. The offspring is also fertile, right? It has the ability to produce a new generation. But have you heard about the interbreeding of horse and the donkey? Horse belong to one species and the dog belong, horse and the donkey. Donkey belongs to another species, right? Due to interbreeding of these, they are able to give birth to a new individual known as the mule, right? Mule. In Sinhala, we call it as kotalua, mule, right? So this mule cannot reproduce. This mule is infertile. Mule is infertile. Therefore, we can say horse and donkey belong to two different species. Understood? Now, here we are talking about plants now. So, nowadays we observe, we can see different types of plants as well as the fruits, right? Fruits means, now, when we say fruits generally, that is something we consider as that is consumed as the dessert. Or palaturu කියන එක නෙවෙයි, right? In science, we use the term fruits for all types of products, again including fruits, vegetables, whatever, we call it as the fruit, right? The product. So nowadays there are different varieties of fruits and vegetables, we'll say, right? In general, fruits and vegetables. So these, some of these are hybrid varieties, but these hybrid varieties, they are products of the interbreeding of individuals from maybe two different species, two closely related species maybe, right? But these hybrid varieties do not have the ability to produce a new generation. That means they are not fertile. Understood what is meant by a species? So shall we define the term species? Group of organisms, group of organisms Group of organisms that can reproduce, that can reproduce group of organisms that can reproduce to give fertile offsprings, fertile offsprings. Yes. Okay, Situli, so you can write about the species. We mentioned the definition. A group of organisms that can reproduce, that can reproduce to give fertile offsprings, to give fertile offsprings. Fertile offspring. So, as an example, here you can mention this is mango plant, mango and another mango plant. So, these two belong to the same species. As a result of interbreeding, they give a fertile offspring. Offspring is the individual of the next generation. Fertile offspring. So, it is also a mango plant. One day it will also reproduce and give birth to another generation, give rise to another generation. No, this is how I explained Shamla. Horse belongs to one species. Donkey belongs to another species. Since these two belong to two different species, the offspring that they produce is the mule. Mule is infertile. Mule is infertile. Therefore, we conclude that the horse and donkey belong to two different species. If they were able to produce a fertile offspring, we can say they belong to the same species. Since the offspring is infertile, we can say these two belong to two different species. Understood? Right. Then what is a habitat? Yes. Yes, Tesandar. What do you mean by a habitat? Yes, it is the home for plants, animals, and other organisms. So, simply you can say place where an organism lives. Place where an organism lives. So, why? Here it says scientists classify living organisms using shared characteristics. State one reason why classification is important. Yes. Why a classification system is important. Now we don't learn about each and every mammal. Instead of yes, it is easy to study and identify organisms, right? We don't need to learn about each and every organism. It's easy to learn about the group to which that they belong, right? Easy to identify and actually remember them. Right? The convenience of identification and as well as remembering. and also it becomes easy for us to study about them, and it is easy to identify the relationships among the organisms. Now we know that we have close relationships with monkeys, chimpanzee, right? So the relationships can also be identified easily by using a classification system, right? Got yes, Pute. Yes. Uh, yes, yes. It improves the communication. It gives us the convenience of communicating about these organisms, right? And it becomes easy for us to identify the species which are economically important for us, right? Economically important can as sometimes maybe as food, or sometimes as medicinal substances, sometimes economically important, once we say like that, they may cause a loss as well, right? Now, certain species spread diseases, so that is an economical loss for us, right? Then, by classifying, once again, we can identify such species, right? Now, for example, bacteria, virus, some of the bacteria cause diseases. Almost all the virus cause diseases, right? Now, these days they talk about another new virus, right? Which has been spread in India at the moment, Nipah virus, right? Which is spread from the animals, right? Hari. Easy to identify, study, remember, and also identify relationships. Easy to learn the relationships. Today we don't find Kemit. Ramla is there, Magna is not there, Tulara present, Teshanda, Saranya absent, Johansa absent. Ah, is it? Okay. Situli is there. Kemit is also not there, right? Shiza. Yes. Yes, Lavanya. Ah, are you a friend of Magna? Where are you from, Lavanya? Vattala, okay. Right. Okay, then we'll move on. Um, which characteristics are most useful for classification? Underline one of these. Just underline. What is it? Yes. Uh, characteristics are most useful for classification. Actually, there are successful classification systems as well as some artificial classification systems which were considered to be not that successful, right? Now, if we classify organisms by using their color, size, shape, that is not that successful, right? For example, the same shape, the reptiles and the eel, we'll say eel, which is considered to be a fish. So if by considering the shape, if we put them into the same group, that is not that successful. Then if we consider the streamlined body, both fish and birds have that shape. If we put them in the same group, that is an unsuccessful classification, right? Therefore, these are included in artificial classification systems. where the organisms live, right? So that also depends, right? Now, sometimes some organisms may be in water, right? Sometimes they will come onto land. By considering their habitats, it is not that uh, successful or accurate to classify organisms. Age of the organisms, no. Shared structures and features, the common characteristic, right? Okay. State two reasons why classification is important in science. Yes. So we mentioned earlier, uh, so we have mentioned the reason for classification, two reasons why classification is important. So you can write the something different. It gives us the convenience of identifying organisms, studying, remembering, as well as identifying their relationships, identifying the species which are economically important for man, right? Likewise, you can say. Explain why biodiversity is important for ecosystems. For ecosystems, why biodiversity is important. Yes, when now think of a forest, right? It is an ecosystem. So when think that all the trees in that forest are the same, then is there a diversity? No. Then if these plants will get, if this similar type of plants will get a particular disease, the whole population will be destroyed, right? Then they are not stable. We find such artificial ecosystems, the agricultural environment, right? Now, in some countries, they have several acres of land occupied by a single plant species, right? That is for agricultural purposes. So if a particular disease or an adverse environmental condition occurs, the whole population will be destroyed. That means when there is no diversity, the stability is also less, right? They are not stable. But when the mango plants are spread in different locations, when the coconut trees are spread in different locations, then what happens? There is a diversity and they are stable, because not the whole population will be destroyed in such a condition as we mentioned earlier, right? Therefore they are stable when there is a diversity, right? The tendency, the probability of having such a disease for these different types of plants is very rare, right? So most of the diseases occur for a particular species. Therefore, they are stable. They can tolerate adverse environmental conditions, right? Hari. Now, we can say the why biodiversity is important for ecosystems. Here you can say biodiversity ensures the stability of an ecosystem. Biodiversity ensures the biodiversity ensures the stability of an ecosystem. Stability of an ecosystem. Then what about humans? What is the importance of biodiversity for human beings? Yes. Providing clean air, okay. Biodiversity, think of both plants and animals. So they provide lot of materials for us, right? Food, medicine, and we extract so many medicinal substances from plants and animals, right? And other materials, food, medicine, and um, provides food, medicine, and lot of other materials. Think of timber, then all the other raw materials we obtain from the natural environment, including fossil fuel. Fossil fuel is also produced as a result of the uh, fossilization of fossilization occurs on one hand. The plant and animal bodies, they undergo fossilization. As a result, we obtain those fuel types, medicine and other materials. So that is as a result of biodiversity. Now, mainly due to bad human activities, right? Actually, human beings are the highest threat for the existence of the natural environment, right? Do you agree? Yes. Are we the highest threat for the natural environment? Yes, no? None of the other organisms litter everywhere. They do not burn certain things and pollute the atmosphere. They don't do anything harmful to the environment, but we do, right? So, as a result, some of the species have been extincted as well as they have faced a threat of extinction. They are going to be removed from this natural environment. So, as a result, what will happen when extinction occurs? Biodiversity reduces. So, biodiversity decreases. So, what are the problems arise as a result? Yes. Yes, Lavanya, could you please repeat? Increase in the spreading of diseases. Okay. What else? What is it? Yes. We will come up with certain environmental issues, right? Now, as I am told, as a result of deforestation, the global warming can be increased, right? We come up with certain environmental issues. On the other hand, you know that each and every individual is important to maintain the balance in the environment, right? When biodiversity is reduced, that balance is also lost, right? If that once the balance is lost, we all are facing problems that affects the existence of life on earth. That becomes a problem for the survival of all the species, right? Hari. Then we can say the ecosystems become unstable, reducing the stability of ecosystems. It becomes a threat for the existence. Right? Okay, Sheza. Sheza, how are you now? Are you stabilized in your environment? You're from Kata. And then Ayan, you're from? You are also from Qatar. Ayan? Oman, right? Okay. Um, right. Then, can you remember? I will just remind you the things that we mentioned last time related to classification. Since you have space here, you can write there, or else if you can use a separate sheet of paper. I have kept the last page empty in the tute, right? If we consider the five kingdom classification, five kingdom classification. Five kingdom classification. These are the five kingdoms. Kingdom Monera, Monera, Protista, then Kingdom Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. Right? So, out of these, actually, the organisms which do not have an organized nucleus come under Monera. We call them as prokaryotes, right? Then all the other four kingdoms, they have an organized nucleus, right? Organized nucleus. So we call these as eukaryotes. Right? Prokaryotic means do not have an organized nucleus. Organized nucleus. Then eukaryotic means they have an organized nucleus. Then we can classify these further, right? For example, Protista consists of algae and protozoans. Then we mentioned about animal groups. Animals are basically classified as uh, vertebrates and invertebrates, right? Hari. So shall we mention about the animal groups as well? Okay. So if we mention about the um, animal groups, I will write here kingdom Animalia. Kingdom Animalia is divided into two categories. invertebrates, the ones which do not have a vertebral column or a backbone, right? Ones that do not have a vertebral column or a backbone, invertebrates. Then the ones which have a vertebral column, these are the vertebrates. So we identify 5 vertebrate groups, right? What are the 5 vertebrate groups? Yes. Okay, mammals. Yes. If we consider the evolutionary order, it starts from fish, right? They live in water. Then the amphibians, they invaded the land, but they need water to complete their life cycle. That is why we call them as amphibians. They need both land and water. Then the fully adapted group of animals for the first time to live on land, these are the birds. Sorry, reptiles. Sorry, reptiles. Reptiles. They are fully adapted to live on land. Reptiles. Then when it comes to birds, we call them as aves as well. Aves. Class aves. Then the mammals. Class mammalia. Mammals are there. For fish, we call as piscus as well. These are the 5 vertebrate groups. I will share something related to this classification. Right. Have you finished writing? Okay, I will share then. Right. Then I will show you about the five vertebrate groups, a comparison on the five vertebrate groups. Five vertebrate groups. Actually, we are not supposed to talk about these in detail, but to get an idea, I'm just sharing this. Okay. Then we have to mention about the accuracy and estimates. If you want, you can have a 2 minute break and go and drink some water and come back within 2 minutes, right? Yes, did you come back? Hello, if you have returned, please turn on the video. Let's turn on the videos, all of you. Right. Okay. So, about accuracy and estimates. Now, there are so many individuals belonging to different species. Now, in the previous video, it mentioned. Now we think that there are so many mammals, right? We can see a large number of mammals in our surroundings. But it mentioned that when we consider all the animals, only 5% of them are the vertebrates. Can you imagine? So, how many species are there? So, it is not that easy to learn about these organisms. Therefore, we sometimes we will have to estimate certain values. For example, now you go on a field visit in your school garden and you are supposed to have a count on the number of, we'll say, number of lizards in your school garden. We'll say ants. So, is it possible to count them one by one? If we say ants, it's impossible, right? There we have to come to a certain, we will have to estimate a value, but its accuracy is also somewhat important. We can't say just it is just this value without doing any experiment or activity. We can't just say, but we have to estimate a certain value based on an accurate method. I will tell you what these methods are. Hari. So you are asked to define the term accuracy. So how do you define the term accuracy? Yes, as you feel. Yes, exactly. It should be somewhat close. The closest measurement to its true value, right? It should be a close measurement to its true value. We will not be able to get the exact value, but it should be closer to the true value. Then it's accurate. Now, if we say, imagine that there are um, 255 lizards in a particular considered area, right? If someone say that it is 600 lizards, that is not accurate. If someone mentions that it is 150, that is also not accurate. But if someone mentions that it is 250, that's an accurate measurement. Its accuracy is higher than the two previous values I mentioned. Okay, then you can say like this: how close a measurement? How close a measurement? How close a measurement to its true value, to its true value. How close a measurement to its true value. I will give you certain calculations later after answering these questions. So then you are asked to define estimate. So we can say an estimate is the approximate value. Approximate value based on a judgment. Right, approximately we'll say the value. Approximate value based on a judgment. Approximate value based on a judgment. That is known as the estimate. We'll do a calculation later. Hari. So what is meant by accuracy? What is the most appropriate answer? It is not guessing. Yes, yes. Circle one. How close a value is to the true value. Yes, that is what we call as the accuracy. Then a leaf length is measured as 18.6 centimeters. So you are supposed to write this value to the nearest whole number. What is it? Nearest whole number. That is 19. Yes, here it says 18.6. So that we can round it off to 19 centimeters. 19 centimeters. Is this an accurate measurement or an estimate? What do you think? Yes, it is not something estimated. We have measured the length and we have rounded it off to the nearest whole number. Therefore, this is an accurate measurement, right? This is an accurate measurement. It is not an estimate. It is an accurate measurement. Hari. Then, in number 13, it asks, give one reason why scientists sometimes use estimates instead of exact measurements. Why? If the real value, if the exact value is not needed, we can estimate. We look at an audience and say there are about 600 participants. So there are, in that instance, sometimes we may not need the exact value. When the exact value is not necessary, we can give an estimate. When the exact value is not for example, now you know the public transportation system in Sri Lanka, right? So there are so many crowded buses. You look at a bus and say there are about 100 people in the bus, right? So that is an estimate. There you don't need to give an exact amount. Exact value is not necessary. When the exact value is not necessary, or if it is difficult, now we can't count the individuals one by one, it is difficult, then also we need an estimate. When an exact measurement is difficult or unnecessary. Unnecessary. Finished? Right. Now you can move on to the last page where there is some space. So I will give you a calculation there, right? We will do a calculation based on estimates. That we'll do one example like this. And then I need to mention about the quadrant as well. What is used for sampling organisms. Right. Take down this question. Hari, what's your answer, the test answer for the first one? That is iron, 900. Okay. Test answer, what's your answer? Sorry? 700. Sheza, I'm asking for the first one, right? 780. Okay. Shamla says 780. Situli? Okay. Lavanya? 780. Yes, Tulara? Right. Then Shamla? Okay. Hari, let's see. Now here this container, this jar consists of sunflower seeds. It is 30 centimeters tall. So is it possible for us to take the seeds one by one and count them? That will take a long period of time and it is difficult, right? Therefore, we make an estimate. It is 30 centimeters tall. We just consider the first 1 centimeter and we take out the seeds and count. It is 26 seeds. So, uh, since it is 30 centimeters tall, we can just estimate, not the exact value, we can estimate if 1 centimeter consisted of 26 seeds, 30 centimeters may consist of how many seeds? Yes, how to do that? Yes, 1 centimeter contains 1 centimeter contains, yes, 26 seeds. Therefore, number of seeds in 30 centimeters. So, 26 should be multiplied by 30. So, what is it? 780. That should be your answer, 780. Ayan, did you get that? Did you understand how to make an estimate? Yes. Hari, what about the second one? Yes, a sweet jar is 25 centimeters tall. 500. Let's see. So there it says that sweet jar is the 25 centimeters tall. 25 centimeters tall. And 20 sweets were counted on the top 5 centimeters. Top 5 centimeters, they have counted 20 sweets. Right? This is the sweet jar. They have considered the top 5 centimeters and identified that there are 20 sweets. It is altogether 25 centimeters in height. Hari, estimate the total number of sweets. So 5 centimeters consists of 20 sweets. So 25 centimeters means 5 centimeters into 5 times. The 5 times. And total number of seeds. Total number of seeds. That is equal to 20 into 5 since it is 5 times. So that is also get the 100, right? In 5 centimeters, if you find 20 sweets, in 25 centimeters, there should be 20 into 5. That should be 100. Hands up those who got the answer as 100. Kasanda, you got. What about the others? Shamla, you got. Tulara got. Situli got. And Lavanya has got the answer. Now, I hope you can understand how to make an estimate. Isn't it? Kulaneda? Yes. Sheza, are you okay? For the previous one, yes, it was 730. Sorry, 780 for the previous one. First question. Okay. Then we can mention about sampling organisms as well. Sampling organisms. I will mention about that as well. Now, you are taken to a lawn, right? A grassland, we'll say. Then you are supposed to estimate the number of grasshoppers in that area, right? So it is impossible to count the grasshoppers one by one. Therefore, you have to find a suitable method. So, shall I erase this? So, we'll say sampling organisms. So, to sample organisms, a square-shaped frame known as the quadrant is thrown randomly to a selected area, right? You are given a selected area to calculate the number of organisms of a particular species, maybe a plant or an animal. So, you just throw that square-shaped frame known as the quadrant to the selected area randomly, right? Then after that, you can find the number of that particular organisms inside that quadrant, in that square shaped frame, inside the square shaped frame, right? Then you know the total area and the area of the quadrant, then you can make an estimate. We'll do a calculation and see. We'll say a quadrant. So I will give you a calculation. Right, do the calculation. Yes, finished. Yes, Ayan. So, are you allowed to use the calculator at school? Then, if you are allowed to use it in the tests assessments, you can use it. If you are not allowed, don't. Let me know once you have finished. Lesantha, you have finished, it seems. Mm. Tulara says Tulara has sent me the answer. Sent me an answer. Let's see whether it is correct or wrong. What about the others? Hundred and 50, 60. That is Sheza. Tulara says 480. Okay, Lavanya. And Situli, Shamla, Fezanda and Ayan, what are your answers? 160. Fezanda? You haven't calculated yet. Shamla says 480. Situli? 360. Okay, now I have got 3 different answers. Let's see. Let's do the calculation and see. Right, here it says a rectangular lawn is 20 meters long, 20 meters long and 15 meters wide, 15 meters in width. The quadrant used is a square in which one side is 0.5 meters. One side is 0.5 meters, the quadrant. It is a square shaped frame. This quadrant was placed 20 times. This was placed 20 times and a total of 8 wild violet plants were counted during all 20 times. Right? You throw this randomly to the lawn and calculate the number of wild violet. So once it is thrown, it was thrown 20 times, they were able to find only 8 wild violet plants. Estimate the number of wild violet plants in the lawn. Right. So first we can calculate the area of the quadrant. Right. Area of the quadrant. That is equal to 0 0.5 into 0.5 square meters. Square meters. So that is equal to 0.25 square meters. So when it is thrown 20 times, what is the area covered? Yes, when it is thrown 20 times, what is the area covered? Area covered by the quadrant during 20 times. So what is it? The area of the quadrant is 0.25 square meters. When it is thrown 20 times, what is the area covered? 0.25 into, yes, 20 square meters. Right? You throw it 20 times randomly. Right? So what is it? 2 into 25 is 50. So 500. So it is altogether 5 square meters. 5 square meters. 0.25 into 20 means 5 square meters. Then, total area of the lawn for 5 square meters. In 5 square meters, we find 8 plants. 8 wild violet plants. So we have to find the area of the lawn. Total area of the lawn. Total area of the lawn. That is 20 into 15. 20 into 15 square meters. That is Yes, 15 into 2 is 30, 300 square meters. Right? Now, once again we can say in 5 square meters we have found out 8 plants. Therefore, estimate the number of plants in 300 square meters. Estimate. Estimation. Okay, what is it? Estimation. In 5 square meters there are 8 plants. Therefore, in 300 square meters, how many plants? That is what we have to estimate, right? So, 300 means 5 into how many times? Yes, 300 means 5 into how many times? 60 times. And this should also be 60, no? Right? This should also be 60. Right? So, 8 into 60, that is 480. Hands up those who got the answer, 480. Okay, Lavanya, Shamla and Tulara. Very good. Now, the others, do you understand how to do such a calculation? Right? So, you have to find the area of the quadrant, right? Then how many times that it is thrown randomly. Then you have to calculate the total area of the land or the lawn here. Right? Then how many times it is greater than the area that we considered. Then it is 60 times than that. I will share a video related to this and we can continue the rest of the things on the coming day. Actually, next day we will not have not need this much time because our calculations are over. Calculation part is over, right? We have to mention about the concentration. Calculating concentration, that is easy. So next time we'll try to finish this plant reproduction part. Then I will finish the combustion lesson, right? Likewise, I have mentioned the plan. Have you finished taking down? I will share my screen in another 1 minute since some are still writing. Right, I will share.
This one is open process. This one, whereas this one is divided into grids. They have lots of different numbers of grids. Sometimes they have 5 squares by 10 squares by the total. This one has 10 along the use. When you place your quadrant on the ground, there's a number of things to do. Firstly, identify you're looking at the wrong, interesting, or all of them, or generally diversity. For example, so look at this power here, that is correct, so I can easy. I can see individual plants, one of which has flower, two of which I want to just count from 3 plants. This gives me what number of plants per species. Think of such seconds or even the growth. That means the top line group quadrant, I will try to see that involved in this technique. I look at each square. This is six. So in this case, I've got 12 grids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gives me a set. And you also want to use a for location. So what if this doesn't quite useful because it's all here. Doesn't it's for just if you want to say that proving your models behind me is on to the assessing unknown to the area that you so it's not for me in this example using the individual single so for these I mean that the area was going to use get the federation going to be random one random which is probably located one location. Yeah, so I'm going to put my eye look away on this random. Just going to laugh at this. And I'm going to go down the second column till I find a random number go forward. This case, that's 1 point. So 1.8 meters is I've got my coordinates. I can place that at one station. I get this time, I'll drop down back here. So now I'm ready to identify this. I want to do this again, but time the other side. Make my time is appropriate to use random rather than time rather long. But you have where your words are all the tricky things. The shape, assuming that light will I then could be something little moisture as you get some food if you want to get on section, proceed and provide.
Okay, so what is the advantage of placing this quadrant more times? Yes. What is the advantage of placing the quadrant several times? For a fair test, because when you place it more times, it will increase the accuracy of the value that you estimate, right? So what is the disadvantage of using this method? Different estimates. Okay, actually here we are making a calculation. So yes, there may be, if a number of individuals repeat the activity, there may be different values, and on the other hand, the accuracy of the estimate will be less, right? The accuracy will be less. And sometimes this cannot be, this is not that practical to use for animal species. The once we throw this, and when the quadrant is fallen, some of the animals can escape from that. That is also a disadvantage, right? In the case of plants, it's okay. But in the case of animals, sometimes they can escape from the area of the quadrant before we make the count, isn't it? And that is also a disadvantage of using this method. But uh, practically it is used because we don't find any other practical method. This is okay to make an estimate, not an accurate value. Okay, understood? So next time we will discuss about the reproduction of plants, the sexual reproduction, asexual reproduction, and also the fertilization and the production of fruits and how they get dispersed. These things we have to discuss, right? Quickly I will finish the things as I mentioned, right? I mentioned the topics that we have to cover. I think your next assessment is on March, is it? Are you given the dates? No, not yet. Mid-term assessment? Yes, Sandar. You are okay. You are not given the dates yet. Okay. Once you get the dates in March, March at the end or at the mid of March? At the end, maybe. Okay. Okay. Once you get the dates, let me know, right? Okay. Then see you on next Thursday at the usual time at 5 o'clock. Study the things that we have done. See you on next week. Stay safe and good night. Bye.